What's up, YouTube? How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me. I'm doing great. It's M. Williams, your licensed master cosmetologist in Atlanta, Georgia, the northern suburbs of Atlanta to be exact. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. And this is mainly going to be for the salon owners or for anyone who is in the hair industry and you are hiring service providers such as braiders, hairstylists, or anyone in the service industry. This is going to be for you. Mainly hair salon owners. And so I'm going to call it or focus it on I own a hair salon or I own a salon, but I cannot find booth renters. Again, I own a salon or I own a massage therapy studio or I own a lash studio or I own a barbershop. It can apply to anyone pretty much in the service industry. I own that type of business, but I cannot find booth renters. I just seem to not be able to find booth rental stylists. So when I'm talking about me, I'm referring to you. So you own this business and it's a commercial property. It's a brick and mortar, but you're having a difficult time and a challenge finding booth rental stylists that can pay you weekly. Now, let me tell you what qualifies me to be able to talk about this with you. I opened a storefront, my husband and I. We opened a storefront salon. It was 1,080 square feet, and we had it for about 13 years. It just closed recently. When my lease expired, it closed a month before COVID. So we paid our last rent February 2020. So it closed a month before COVID. And I currently I had 2 salon suites and I just gave up one of them because now I work alone. I no longer have a team. And I haven't had a team for a couple of years, but I did have a team of up to 10 hairstylists and braiders, and I was a commissioned salon owner. I had some booth rental stylists, but basically commission. So all of those things that I just mentioned to you is the reason that I qualify to be able to tell you some information about helping you if you own a salon but you cannot find booth rentals. So a couple of ways that you can hire people, just starting off when you get your storefront salon or your brick and mortar and you're trying to hire. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to have to recruit some people from cosmetology school. You're going to have to nourish some people. You're going to have to mentor some people, help to build people up. That's going to be definite. You're 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to do that. So go ahead and get your mindset prepared for that. And after owning my storefront salon and managing it, and doing hair, being a stylist there too, I learned so much about the business. I feel like any type of small business you have, you're gonna learn a lot about people. When you own a business, you learn a lot about people, because I honestly feel like you learn so much about people at work. I think people are their true, authentic self when they're at work. So you see a lot about people, at work, whether they're on time, what type of work ethic they have, what kind of business acumen they have, if they're on time, if they're punctual or not, if they're rude, if they're client service oriented, if they're not. I mean, you just learn a lot, probably more than you may care to know, or more than you may care to learn when you own a small business. You learn a lot. That's number one. Number two, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a whole lot about yourself because of all of what I just said. You're going to learn so much about people, and you're learning it from a business owner perspective. You may not have been a business owner before previously, so now that you're a business owner, you're seeing all of these different things and personality traits, work ethic or lack thereof, punctual or lack thereof. You learn a lot, integrity or lack thereof. You may learn about embezzlement. You may learn about defamation. You will learn a lot about people. So when you are learning so much about people, you're learning a lot about yourself. Because at the same time, when all of that's going on and you're learning about people and their behaviors, and you're learning all of this about people, it's showing you how you deal, how you relate, the integrity you have, the patience you have, the wisdom you have, the skill set you have. It in turns have a boomerang effect, and it comes back to you. Like my husband's granddad, he said his granddad always used to say, when you have one finger pointing at somebody, you got four fingers pointing back at yourself. You're pointing one finger at somebody, you're pointing a finger at them, but you have four fingers pointing back at yourself. So you're learning a lot about people, but you are learning a lot about yourself. Because at the end of the day, when all of that's going on, if you have, team members who are showing up late for clients, or who are rude to clients, or who have no good, customer service skill set, no type of great business acumen, no great work ethic, you may have stylists who have all of that I just named, and it may be great. Either way, you're learning a lot about yourself, because this may have been your first time managing people, or it could have been your fifth time managing people. Whatever the case may be, again, you're learning a lot about them, but you got those four fingers pointing back at you. So with that, bearing that in mind, and knowing that we can't change anybody else other than ourselves. So you always want to bear that in mind. We can see the error of their ways, or they could be the best, professional service provider in the world. But for those who are not, those who are more of a challenge for you, you cannot change them. You can mentor them if they want to be mentored, if they're open to receive it. But if they're not, then you're always going to be learning about yourself. And that's all that you can do. You can learn about yourself. You cannot change them at all. So you want to recruit from Cosmetology School, you can start off there. You can also offer an apprenticeship. Most states, I'm in the state of Georgia, so I'm going to speak for Georgia. I know that in the state of Georgia, you can have someone working under your license. If you're licensed, they can work under your license as an apprentice. And they can earn hours towards getting their cosmetology license. Or if you are a barber, they can work under your license to obtain their master barber license. Whatever you are, they can work under your license as an apprentice. And they can, until they earn enough hours to be tested for whether it's a master cosmetologist, a master barber, massage therapist, or whatever it may be. And I don't know about other states. I'm in Georgia. I can only speak about Georgia. I don't know about other states, so unfortunately I cannot help you there. You can go to the state that you live in. You can Google it and go to the State Board of Cosmetology website and find out for your state. So that's another way that you can get someone. Now, you're only allowed in the state of Georgia, you're only allowed to apprentice one person. And one thing about apprenticeship in the state of Georgia, to become a master cosmetologist, you have to get 1,500 hours. 1,500 hours. Again, different states are different, so you have to check with your state. So don't take it for face value what I'm saying, like if you're in the state of New York and you're listening to this video, or if you're in North Carolina and you're listening to this video, or if you're in California, Tennessee, South Carolina. Every state is different, and every state requires a different amount of hours to gain your licensure. So you definitely, for the state of Georgia, for a master cosmetologist, you have to get 1,500 hours. So that's if you go to cosmetology school. Now, if you don't go to cosmetology school and you do this apprenticeship for someone and you allow them to work under your license while you train them, the State Board of Cosmetology in Georgia, they require the person to have double the amount of hours. So, for example, in the state of Georgia, to become a licensed master cosmetologist, you have to get the 1,500 hours, and then you have to go and sit for the state board exam and pass to be able to get your license. So to become to be able to qualify to get your hours under the apprenticeship program, you have to get double the 1,500 hours. So that would be 3,000 hours. That's only in the state of Georgia. Again, I don't know about any other states, but in the state of Georgia, to work under someone's license to become an apprentice, you have to gain 3,000 hours. And the person who apprentices you, they must be licensed in that same state. So again, all you have to do is go on the State Board of Cosmetology for the state that you're in, and you can Google that and find out. If you have any questions once you read it online, you still have questions, just give them a call. They'll answer any question that you may have. You can also hire people as a commission hairstylist. Now, once you hire people as commission hairstylists, pretty much they're not paying you a booth rental, but that's kind of a way that you can allow them to come on board, and you can hire someone, and then you can have like a period where they transition over to booth rental. I'm just listing out things, and then as I mentioned earlier, I had a salon, so I'm going to tell you some of my experiences, and I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback, some tips, and I'm also going to give you some suggestions. And so right now I'm just giving you a few ideas and a few suggestions. Now, in my opinion, I feel like any salon owner, they will always have a challenge finding hairstylists that are licensed and that already have themselves, together. And when I say together, to be able to do booth rental, you have to have a database of customers. You have to come, if you come to a salon and you're a stylist and you're looking to be hired at a salon on a booth rental basis, on that type of structure, then of course you're going to need a database of customers, your own clients, and that way you will be able to afford to pay a weekly booth rental. you will be able to afford that. Now, just because you open up a storefront salon, that doesn't mean all these booth rental stylists are going to start flocking to your salon. That's not going to happen at all. And that's, again, this is just me, my years of experience in the hair industry, also having that storefront salon. When I opened it, my husband and we tried to hire booth rental stylists, it was very few and far between. It was a challenge to find booth rental hair. So again, you guys, everyone's situation is different, and I'm not saying you take my situation and make it your own situation. I'm not here venting. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just trying to give you advice, because my whole motive is to help you. And when you go into a situation blindly, that's the worst thing ever. So you don't want to do that. It's different if you know, or you can already pretty much have an idea of what could happen. And then that way you can be better prepared, in your mind and your heart and your spirit and your soul. You will be better prepared for it. And hindsight won't be 20/20 for you. We never want hindsight to be 20/20. We always want to know in advance. If you know something in advance, then you can be prepared for it. And it's different if it's just a situation that's not a business. Like you can end up losing a lot of money by hindsight being 20/20. You don't want to lose the money. I don't want you to lose the money. And so I'm telling you some of the things that could occur. Not saying they will, but saying they could. I'm saying they might. I'm saying it's an opportunity that they could. So you want to make sure that you're prepared. If I can help you as much as I can, then you can be prepared by me sharing some things that could occur. And then I'm hoping and prayerfully that it could help you avoid some situations that you may not have thought about. So anyway, my situation is, when I opened my salon, my husband and I, in 2008, first of all, the recession started maybe like 3 months after we opened. That's number one. Number two, it was such a challenge, and I don't even think it had anything to do with the recession at this point. With this situation, it was a challenge to find hairstylists that had the available customer database to be able to pay a weekly rent. It was a challenge. And so I don't think it had anything to do with the recession, because the reason I say that is because the entire time that we owned the salon, it was a challenge not to find hairstylists. I could find hairstylists. The challenge was finding hairstylists who could pay booth rental. And that's the whole topic of this video. I own a salon but cannot find booth rental stylists. Remember, that's the topic of this whole video. It's because you own a storefront salon, but you're having a hard time. It's a challenge finding and keeping. Like, you may find one or two here and there, but it's gonna be a challenge. Now, again, when I was hiring, it was a challenge finding people who had a database of customers to be able to pay me a weekly booth rental. It was just an absolute challenge. So, bearing that in mind, once you have your storefront salon and you cannot find booth rental stylists, then the only other thing is either making them an employee. And when I say employee, I'm talking about W-2. And most salons, small, minority-owned salon or whatever type small salon you have, can't afford that. That's number one. Number one, you probably can't afford it. So the next option is commission. And so that's what I did, because at the end of the day, when you have your storefront salon, I had 1,080 square feet. I don't know what you have, but or what you're about to get. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking about owning a storefront salon, and it's good that you're listening to this video. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to hire somebody, because one thing about any type of business that you have, it doesn't matter if it's a cake bakery, it doesn't matter what type of business it is. Once you get a storefront business, there's no way you can pay all that overhead alone. You have to have help with the overhead. You cannot just be in there and just be working yourself too much, paying all that overhead yourself. So you're gonna definitely have to hire. So you're gonna have to hire, you guys. So if you get commission stylists, which is what I ended up doing, because I really had no choice. I would have preferred booth rental hairstylists, because at the end of the day, they pay you a weekly rent. They're responsible for their own products. They're responsible for their checking their own clients out. They're responsible for their own market. They're responsible for everything. All they do is just pay you, the salon owner. They pay you a weekly booth rental. But once you become commissioned, then that's more of a risky business model. It's more risky. And then my suggestion with that is, if you decide that you're gonna, that you have no other choice but to do commission, my suggestion to you is to make sure that it's very structured. You have to make sure that it is very structured, because if it's not, then it's a number of things that could happen that could affect your business in a negative way, as far as your revenue, as far as your client database, and all of that. So even though that you're gonna put the stylist, you may be in a situation where you can only hire commission, then you need to make them be accountable. And when I say that, you need to make sure that they bring something to the table. Because when you hire anybody, it doesn't matter what type of company, what type of business. I worked in corporate over 20 years. It doesn't matter what type of industry, what type of business. People hire people that's gonna be an asset, not a liability, an asset. So at the end of the day, when you start hiring, even for your salon, you want people to be an asset in some type of way. Now, if they come and they interview with you, but they don't have a solid clientele enough to pay you a booth rental, and then you end up having to do commission, then with that being such a risky business model, then you want to make sure that some type of way they're going to be an asset, because that's a risk for your business, which makes it a liability. So you want to find a way for that stylist or barber or whomever it may be that doesn't have a clientele. You want to find a way for them to be an asset. So what are they going to bring to the table? You got to make sure that however you structure that business model for that commission, that they're going to be an asset in some type of way. By that, I mean they're going to bring something to the table. Something. Because if people don't invest in something, in some type of way, whether it be a financial investment, whether it be an investment of their time, whether it be an investment of their skills, if people don't invest into something, then it's not a loss to them. If there's no investment, there's no loss. So you cannot run a successful business and a successful salon if you're the owner over here and you're doing everything and they're down here and they're doing nothing. So you have to, for them to become an asset and meet you at least halfway, because you're willing to bring them in and hire them as a liability, because they're they're bringing their skill set to the table, but at the end of the day, you were hiring for booth rental people and you were not hiring commission. So you're having to change your whole business model to try to bring in someone so that you can help them. Because now you're having to help them because they do not have a clientele. So now you're having to help them and you're being more involved in that aspect of the business than you had hoped to be, than you had planned to be. And so you can't find any booth rental stylists or barbers or nail techs or whatever. So you decided that you're going to bring them in on commission, but you just have to make sure you're not doing all this up here and then they're down here. Because if you do that and they don't meet you halfway, that's very risky. At the end of the day, that's a very risky business model. Very risky. Now, when I say meet you halfway, you need to have them sign something, and I can go into that in another video. But at the end of the day, nobody wants to lose their business, or nobody wants anything to be a risk to their business or a loss to their business because you're trying to help someone. You don't want to lose your business or lose anything for the mere fact that you were trying to help a person. You do not want to do that. So you want to make sure you dot every I and you cross every T, and you want to make sure at the end of the day that your business is not going to be jeopardized because you're helping someone that doesn't have themselves together in order to pay you a booth rental. You have to make sure you protect your business at the end of the day. So, before you even open a business, I would suggest talking to a lawyer, because at the end of the day, you don't want to lose your business at all for the mere fact that you're trying to help others. And it's great to be able to help others. I don't know any small business owners who open a business and don't want to help others. I mean, that's the whole motivating factor. Most people who open a small business, they're doing it because they do want to help other people. But at the end of the day, you have to look out for your brand, for yourself, and for your business. At the same time, you can be helping other people, but what are they doing to help themselves? Like, you can't be up here as the owner and they're down here. So you have to do some things in order for them to become an asset, because they're coming in without any customers. They're coming in with no client database. They're coming in with maybe less than a skill set that than what you were looking for. They may be coming in just still in cosmetology school. They may be coming in as an apprentice. And so you may find it hard pressed to find someone who has all of that, the skill set, the experience, the database of customers, a book of business, and ready to just come in and pay you a weekly booth rental to rent your chair. Now, that is a challenge. And in my opinion, the reason why that's a challenge, because most stylists, most service providers who have themselves together to that point of having their own, years in the industry, they're licensed, they have a solid book of business, they have a client database. Most of them do not want to work in a storefront salon. They want their own salon suite, or they want their own storefront salon. So you got to understand that if you own a storefront salon and you're hiring stylists, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to hire, possibly those who have less experience. Some stylists may like working in a storefront salon, but the majority of hairstylists, they want their own storefront salon suite, or they want their own They want their own storefront salon, or they want their own salon suite. One or the other. And when I say that, I'm referring to the people that have the clientele, which are 9 times out of 10 the type stylists and service providers that you're hoping to hire when you have a storefront. So I'm going to keep this video very brief. I'm not going to drag it out, but I'm doing a whole series on entrepreneurship. Not saying that I know it all, but I have a lot of wisdom because I've been in the industry a long time, and I had my storefront for quite a while, and I still have a salon suite, and I had a salon suite for 2 years before I opened the storefront, and I had a storefront and 2 salon suites at the same time. So I pretty much, I'm not gonna say I've done it all, and I worked in corporate for like over 20 years. So a lot of wisdom I have here, and I want to share, but I don't want to drag these videos out. I don't want to drag it out, but I do want to put information out here and help people as much as I possibly can. As much as I possibly can. So if you can comment, drop a comment below, drop a comment, and tell me what it is, in this video that may have helped you or enlighten you, or drop a comment and tell me what would you like me to hear, or what would you like me to discuss in my next video. And you can go to my playlist here on my YouTube channel, Sugar Salon TV, and you can go to that Entrepreneur Series playlist. And I'm gonna continue to upload videos there about entrepreneurship, but I don't want to drag the videos out. I want to keep them 30 minutes or less. Try to keep them pretty brief so that they won't drag out. So I'm going to be uploading them, and I pray and hope that it's helping you. And if you want to hear more content like this, just drop the comment telling me what you want to hear. Also, subscribe. If you like what I'm doing on my channel, and you hear anything that can help you on any of my uploads, then please just go ahead and subscribe and click the bell. That way, if you click the bell, as soon as I upload a video, you'll be the first to know. And again, it's Sugar Salon TV, and I hope this has helped you. I've kept this brief, but I'm going to continue this series, and you're going to see more and more uploads on salon ownership, entrepreneurship, and anything that you want to know about in this realm. Just drop it in the comment below, any comment you have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe. Thanks in advance for those of you who have already subscribed, and I look forward to talking to you soon.